I'm attracted to my haters, outlast them. Passport stamped it, getting funny work on consignment. Come on, now that's a backflip. Principles you stand on. Wasted talent, sad song. Beach house 1.5, but the car dad said 260. God, obedience, Jesus, repentance. The marathon continues, and I'm strong to the finish.
All your feelings hurt when it get around. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now. All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now.
FYF, okay. No one measure, remember them 3 letters come with pressure. Okay. We be steppers, man, can't stop, won't let up. Real debates, the haters gon' hate. That's what makes it special, it come with level. Yeah, this shit get better, no cap, new era. We got ammunition for the opposition and plenty witness, killing competition. Catch us late night on a panel cooking, but don't be fooled, this ain't your mama's kitchen. They say they don't, but they watch and listen, typing in the chat. You ain't got a lot to kick it. If you click the link, make sure you got permission, and don't forget, nigga, fuck your feelings.
All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now. All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now.
I know they ain't ready at all. I stay ready, time to ball. No referee, I got shots to call. Believe I'm the best, so I'm better than y'all. Fuck your feelings, you know that's law. Running it up, now we running it back. It's that full court pressure, don't cut no slack. Jamming to the max. Ooh, bank count still full of racks. For the competition, they done went missing. The champ is here, look how the ring glisten. It's honorable mention, don't ever forget it. It's FYF, don't care about the ticket. You know we with it, yeah. We gon' do whatever it takes. Fuck all the hate. FYF still going down. It's one of the greats.
All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now. All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now. No supporters, no fans. LVCMB talking on rear. Yeah, get hard, could be on the rear. Heart rate up, it's getting intense. All them people just speaking on nothing. Content clicks for the money. Hilarious, the bit too funny. Debunking this shit, yeah, we run it. Cover it up, Lakers to Hornets. LeBron to Jordan, Blazers in Portland. We get it sorted, lights can afford it. Entertaining or boring, whatever the top, but we act accordingly. Break it down, piece by piece. Been at this for too long. No elder but Rufus, saying what he on. Lace better stay gone. We get them all done. We get them all done. Yeah, we get them all done. All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who do it for the bite. Oh, we going now. All your feelings hurt when it get real. All of them fakes, so they ain't ready now. It be too hard, we getting lit, cause we speaking now. Fuck all the clowns, yeah, the ones who.
FYF Sports, man. Appreciate you guys. We back today, man. Salute to True the King, man. And I love it when people show up to FYF Sports Live. Remember, y'all, we are live streaming on 2 channels, right? You become a member over on FYF Sports Live, man. And, man, the members stand out, man. Salute to True the King. Right, those comments always get prioritized, man. We got to give a shout out to True the King. He Bear says they're gonna be on Lamar for this video, as usual. And you know, as a precursor to this topic, man. When I talk about the LGBT community today, and then when the people that come on the panel talk about this topic today, obviously we're gonna be extremely respectful because The one thing that this community has made clear is that they're an extremely sensitive community, highly sensitive to any form of criticism, irregardless of if that criticism is actually right or wrong. Which again is been one of the major problems that the WNBA has failed to address. This has been an issue. I mean, everybody's been kind of dancing around this entire WNBA topic. They've been dancing around why this league is failing. They dance around why nobody takes an affinity towards any of their stars, right? And then the stars that people do take an affinity to, then it seems like that fan base is upset for the reasons why basketball fans take affinity to certain players. We're going to be talking about those particular players. We're going to be talking about the direction of the WNBA since its in session. And we got to finally address why, when the WNBA, when NBA players, when you have organizations abroad push the WNBA to all links, yet it's still a felon league. And why? And why does the WNBA continue to push a marketing plan that has shown you nothing but failure? And we all know what that marketing plan is. I don't care what the WNBA says they're trying to do. I don't care what the players say they're trying to do. The WNBA has now become an extended branch for the LGBTQ movement. Now, if there's anyone affiliated or any fans of the WNBA that disagree with that, feel free to join the panel and have that conversation. But I feel that because the WNBA has been more invested in pushing a sexual movement, a lifestyle movement, as opposed to pushing basketball, they are continuously sending their league down the drain, distancing themselves from traditional fans that just want to hoop. Because the one thing that I've noticed about basketball, and many of us in here understand this about basketball, the sport of basketball attracts fans no matter what the level is, right? I was watching the high school game that showcased LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony's sons. Sold out, boom, just like that. I'm watching the Drew League. Low-level basketball, sold out just like that. I'm watching NCAA games. Boom, sold out just like that. I was actually on YouTube. I'm watching third graders play in a championship game. Sold out 5,000 people, just like that. The game of basketball attracts people to watch. So when we look at the WNBA, what about the WNBA is pushing people away from watching? What product are they trying to sell us that a lot of people just aren't interested in buying? We're going to be getting to all of that today. I'm going to get to a lot of the speculation that I have, right? Because the one thing that we cannot deny is that the WNBA is a felon league. They have completely failed with whatever marketing plan or strategy they've tried to push. I know last year they tried to push these new jersey colors to us. I don't even know if the prime basketball fan base, I don't even know if we care about the NBA jerseys. And we love the NBA. But they pushed to us last year, ooh, we got new jerseys. We don't care. But they are pushing some other things. They are making sure that we know certain things about that league that has no direct correlation to what happens on the court. They make sure that we know certain things. Like I shouldn't know who a player is dating before I know how many points per game they have. Do you guys agree? Like if you are Breanna Stewart, I shouldn't know that you're married to a woman before I know how many MVPs you got. You're pushing, and the WNBA has been pushing. They push their pride over pushing basketball, things that actually are marketable, things that we actually care about talking about. The things that we don't want to talk about, the things we really don't care about. Even if you go to a WNBA game, there's a large presence of a community there, which I don't care. I don't care that this community is there in a large presence. I don't think nobody really cares. But this community is dominating the league to such a degree, not just in the games. They're dominating the league to such a degree with marketing, pushing relationships, pushing things we absolutely don't care about, that they've not only pushed away the common fan, but they're now pushing away the last little scrapes of hope to have success, because they're getting passed up by too many new leagues. They're just getting passed up by too many people. But we're going to be talking about all the details that I have, man. Again, appreciate everybody pulling up today. Hard work, ENT, man. I see you in the chat. Act accordingly. Bear 24. Not your average 10K. Salute. Ricky E245, man. Appreciate you being here. We got Retro 1914. Nicholas Brown, man. One of the top minds of the channel, man. Always there. Terrence Forrest Jr., man. Salute, man. Appreciate the Cash App that you sent yesterday. Man, I appreciate everybody that supports the channel, man. FYF Sports. We got Ace 30, man. Make sure if you sign up for your membership, man, and you hear somebody capping, man, you can spam up the Ace 30 badge, man. What? Who's the top researcher in the game? Who's the top researcher on YouTube, man, when it comes to this basketball thing, man? If you need stats immediately, man, all you got to do is have Ace 30 on your panel. Can't nobody cap about a percentage point. I mean, if a player got 26 points per game, but he's really at 25.9, man, 30's going to correct you, man. You can't cap about a percentage point when 30's on the panel, man. So salute, man. Make sure y'all do. And look, as we develop these emojis and everything, man, we got the Krabby Dicks emoji coming for True to King, man. How could we not have the Krabby Dicks emoji for True to King, right? All right. We got the Cap God emoji for Mac Def. Mac Def, man, Mac Def is close to being in the Hall of Fame because he caps so much. That probably elevates him close to the top of our Hall of Fame. To make the Hall of Fame because you've lost so many debates because you've capped so much, that's crazy. Mac Def might be the first to make the Hall of Fame because he's got max ether the most. It's crazy. Right? We got to get an emoji for Antisocial, man. The chef. Right, he hasn't been around, but he's somewhere cooking steaks in somebody's kitchen. Salute to Antisocial, man, taking his career seriously. Antisocial. Uncle P told me she saw you in that kitchen. Said the supervisor had you stuck in the kitchen. You couldn't even come out to say hi, man. We got to go check on Antisocial. He might be being held hostage in that kitchen. He might be being held hostage. Uncle P just wanted to say hi to the man. He couldn't leave the kitchen. Salute to Antisocial, man. Salute to Antisocial, man. We got to figure something out for Elder, man. But everybody, especially if you're in the Hall of Fame, you got to get an emoji, man. All right. But let me get to some of these details that I have here. Hold on, let me pull this up. All right, because I thought some of these stories were pretty interesting. Yet they're not very much talked about. I have them right here. Give me 1 second. Here we go, right here. Okay, so I saw an article come up in The Guardian. And I think that's what kind of motivated me to talk about this. But, oh yeah, T Streets, yeah, you definitely got to get the roast emoji, man. That's facts. That's facts. But the WNBA, I saw an article by the Guardian, and this is not very good when somebody creates an article about your league like this. It says, does the WNBA have a problem with straight women? Right, and it talks about Candace Wiggins, a WNBA player who claims she was bullied by a league that is 98% gay. These are her claims. Remember, when women make these claims, look, if we go with what is traditionally supposed to happen in this cancel culture, women are supposed to be believed until otherwise proven. So we just got to say we believe her until otherwise proven. Now, do I believe that the WNBA is 98% gay? Well, she's been a part of that league. She knows a little bit more than me, but I still feel like 98% is a tad exaggerated. But she could be very well accurate. I mean, there have been studies that come out to say that 58% of the WNBA is part of the LGBT community, while about 40% have come out as openly LGBTQ. And look, y'all, there's nothing wrong with that to a certain degree. But when you have players in your own league who say that she's being bullied in the WNBA because she's heterosexual, right? I'll give you her quote. She says that 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay women, and people were deliberately trying to hurt me all of the time. I had never been called the B word so many times in my life. Right? She hit a sweet spot for the media coverage of the WNBA. Right? He said the league is seldom considered newsworthy enough when we see things like the creation of super teams in Washington, Elaine Deladonna and the Mystics and things like that. So again, the league is not very newsworthy when it comes to the actual players and what they do on the court. That's a problem. But she makes a case. She further says, so Candace Wiggins further says, it's toxic to be heterosexual in the WNBA. Why would a player within the WNBA make these claims? And is she the only player that feels this way? Are there other players that just don't want to get blackballed like she has that feel the same way? Right? She further said the WNBA is a very, very, very harmful culture. Right? This is what she said. And she said all these things when she announced her retirement last March instead of signing a contract with the New York Liberty. Right? She says, I wanted to play 2 more seasons of the WNBA, but the experience didn't lend itself to my mental state, Wiggins told the San Diego Tribune. She said it was a depressing state in the WNBA. It's not watched. Our value is diminished. It's quite hard. I didn't like the culture inside the WNBA with the evolution of the LGBTQ movement. And without revealing too much, it was too toxic for me. So Wiggins, so the one thing we need to know about Candace Wiggins is she's a Stanford graduate. So we're talking to somebody that's extremely intelligent, right? She went on to tell the newspaper that me being heterosexual and straight and being vocal in my identity as a straight woman was huge. This is where she says, I would say 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay. It was a conformist type of place. She says there was a whole different set of rules the other players could apply. So this is a WNBA player talking about her experience in the WNBA. She's talking about how there was so much of a focus on pushing a movement, which was the LGBTQ movement, that they would shun players that were not part of that movement. That's how much this LGBTQ evolution has ingrained itself into the league. It's ingrained itself into the league that she is the way she's stating this, that it's become applicable to a gang. And if you're not part of that gang, they're going to find a way to get you out. Or she said, remember what she said? It was a conformist type of place, which means you either fit in or you fit out. It's crazy. Crazy right there, man. That is crazy right there, man. So, right, as the WNBA season tips off going into this next coming season, according to studies, about 58% of players currently on rosters are LGBTQ and publicly out. Right, this study says 2 in 5 WNBA players are publicly LGBTQ, and they said this is possibly the highest ratio of any pro league in the world. So, if we take this back to just the data, is there a correlation between the WNBA potentially having the highest LGBTQ presence in their league, but then also having the least marketable league of any sport in all sports? It's the least marketable. It's the hardest to convince people to watch. I mean, you can find ways to get people to go to NCAA women's basketball games, especially when we have the NCAA tournament, right? You can find ways. If you look overseas, there are multiple women's leagues that are thriving. How do we know they're thriving? Because they're able to pay the women's players in upwards of $1 million plus. This is why a lot of the WNBA players go overseas to play in the leagues over there, because those leagues pay more. What are those leagues doing different to where they can find the money to pay WNBA players $1 million plus per season? But a basketball league here in the U.S., one of the most popular sports, basketball is easily probably the most popular sport in the United States. That's arguable, but how can they not have success here in the United States? But leagues abroad can. What are leagues abroad doing different from the WNBA with regards to marketing? All right. So it says, when Outsports Marketing began publishing in 1999, it says, we talked with a basketball executive who shared with us behind closed doors in the WNBA about how to keep the lesbian image of some players quiet. So here's another connection to the data. When was the WNBA most successful? At one point in time in the WNBA, did it look like it could be a successful league? That takes us back to when they first started, when you had players like Cynthia Cooper and Lisa Leslie, Tina Thompson leading the league. They could sell out NBA arenas, at least in the playoffs. It looked like a thriving league. Fans were there to watch. We knew who the GOATs were at that time. We knew who the best players were at that time. But also an intentional part of the WNBA's marketing strategy at that time was, and again, this was shared by a basketball executive who shared with Outpost Sports behind closed doors. It said at that time, the WNBA, one of their main marketing ploys was about how to keep the lesbian image of some players quiet. And they didn't want to allow that to dominate the sport, as opposed to what was going on the court to play that we were actually seeing. Is there a connection there as well? Salute to Hitman X in the chat. We got April Harmony in the chat as well. All right. Peanut is back. Salute to Peanut. We got Fred Dorsey. Jared Thomas is back as well. Contagious, salute, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. Let me go ahead and drop this in the chat while you guys are here. Again, I appreciate everybody pulling up to the stream today. I'm going to be dropping the link so we can talk about this. All right. Do I expect our stream today to go on as long as the one yesterday? No. Yesterday was a crazy show, man. Almost upwards of 600 people in here. We had to chop it up about the Deion Sanders situation. But tomorrow, we will be back on that Deion Sanders situation, because I need to see what's going on with this petition to prevent Coach Prime from coaching in the Celebration Bowl. I just got to do a little bit more research on it myself, but we got to talk about that. All right. But again, appreciate you guys pulling up, man. If you guys want to support the channel, man, you can always do so by hitting the Cash App or hitting the Zelle. Appreciate it. But we got to talk about this. So it says at the WNBA, when the WNBA tips off in the new season, about 58% of the players on current rosters, including hardship exceptions, are publicly out. Right. All right. And that means a part of the LGBTQ community. So the connection here with the data, the more women that come out as part of the LGBTQ movement, the lower the marketability goes of the league. And so what the WNBA needs to understand is that the more you push that movement onto sports fans, which remember, sports fans want to see one thing at all costs. They want to see sports and they want to see quality play. If you're pushing something else over sports and quality play, sports fans are going to leave and you're losing those sports fans. So that's what essentially the WNBA is doing. Right. Right. It talks about how also owners and coaches are part of the movement too. The Atlanta Dream owner, Renee Montgomery, who's recently retired, is publicly out and married to music artist Serena Grace. Right. In addition, Connecticut Sun coach Kurt Miller, meaning Minnesota Lynx coach, are also out as well. Right. And then it proceeds to just give a list of all the players who are out publicly across all the teams. And it's a humongous list. I think the last thing that we need to see, the last thing that we need to accentuate is Brittany Griner and the community that pushed for her release. And what many people call the worst basketball trade in sports history, which was trading Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death. And what community was at the forefront of pushing for this trade? Pushing for this trade at all costs. And so now that you've traded Brittany Griner and given in return one of the top 10 most dangerous people in the world, there's an entire documentary about how dangerous this guy is. Now you've not just upset a sports fan base, the WNBA, and the community have found a way to upset the entire world. And rightfully so. And so now the connection with the black community. So Fred Dorsey says the black community, not the gay community. So Fred Dorsey, I'm glad you brought that up right there, because Sue Bird made a very alarming statement, which I'm thinking like, what? Sue Bird makes a statement. Back in 2020, Sue Bird says, women's basketball is less popular than soccer. But why did she say that? She said women's basketball is less popular because most of the players are black and gay. Now, Sue Bird, we're going to use Sue Bird, and I understand, I don't know what your IQ level is, Sue Bird. But Sue Bird, we're going to just do just a little bit of, I wish Sturdy was there when Sue Bird would have said this. Because the first thing Sturdy, if she said this in front of Sturdy would have spammed up the research purposes badge. He'd have been like, Sue Bird, do your goddamn research. Almost every sports league in the United States is majority black. As far as the major sports. Right? Basketball, football. Basketball's thriving. The league that the WNBA players complain about the most, this player's making more than the entire league. It's majority black. Football. Everybody's watching every Sunday. The most popular sport in the United States. Majority black. She says, but she claims that women's basketball is less popular, one, because most of the women are tall and black. That's what she said. So, college basketball, most of the players are tall and black. The Big Three, most of the players are tall and black. The Drew League, most of the players are tall and black. All these other leagues with tall and black players can succeed except the WNBA. No, Sue Bird did have one part of her statement correct. The only part of her statement that was correct was it's because of the LGBTQ movement within the league. This is what most people don't care for. Right. I'll read to you her full statement before we drop the link and open it up to everybody. She says, to be completely blunt, but also kind of simple, she tried to compare it to soccer. She says soccer players generally are cute, little white girls. And I think basketball players wear all shapes and sizes. First of all, nobody cares. One, Subert, first of all, we're not really watching women's soccer either. But I guess some people will watch, especially if it's the World Cup. But she says it's 70. She said the league is 70 to 80% black women. Yes, the league is 70 to 80% black women. That's not why we don't watch. I think this has to be one of the dumbest statements that I've actually ever heard about basketball. And it's one of the reasons, this is how you know that they're delusional in their expectations. Right? She said a lot, and she said also a lot of gay women. Yes, you are right about that. But that is what is pushing people away. Because what other league in the world do we consistently, like, can y'all tell me, and like when we think of women's soccer, nobody thinks of LGBTQ. Nobody thinks there's a lot of LGBTQ women. When you look at all the other women's league, when we think of women's college basketball, that's not what we think of with it. But when we talk about the WNBA, what's one of the first things that comes to your mind? I want you guys to be honest. That most of the women are LGBTQ. And the funniest thing is that the two women that were actually pushing back, at least publicly, right? The two women that were pushing their heterosexuality the most, which is Liz Cambage and Tia Cooper, both of those women seemingly are not in the NBA right now, irregardless of their skill set. Liz Cambage is probably the best player in the WNBA. She's not in the league anymore. Tia Cooper is a starting point guard in the WNBA. Why is she not on the WNBA team? Oh, but when we look to both of their social medias, they're making posts that cater towards a male fan base, not the LGBTQ fan base. Am I correct? So the two biggest social media figures, right? The two biggest social media figures that cater to the opposite group, opposite of LGBTQ community, have found themselves as highly talented as they are. I mean, there's even the Australian player, Shyla Hill, who also models and does the same thing. She was the number 4 pick in the WNBA draft. I want you guys to explain this to me. And this is why what Candace Wiggins said makes a little bit of sense. So the 3 women that I can think of that are pushing back or at least marketing themselves in a heterosexual manner, Shyla Hill, Tia Cooper, and Liz Cambage. All 3 are now fine. All 3 are not in the league. Shyla Hill, who was the number 4 pick, got waived like 2 games into the season. What league in the world waives the number 4 pick of your draft like 2 games into the season? This only gives credence to the things that Candace Wiggins was saying. Right? Tia Cooper. Clearly, when she plays, she's one of the best guards in the league. Not in the league. Can't find a job. Waived. Liz Cambage. Can't get along on any team. Even though she's the best player in the world, she's in the paint having to beg for the basketball and players are not throwing her the ball to the point that she's getting so frustrated that she leaves the entire league. Says she does not want to come back. Is there a correlation between the things that Wiggins said and what we're actually seeing? I don't know. We got to talk about it, though. Peanut says, Lamont, he said, the facts, Lamont, he said, the fine chicks are hated on. I agree. I mean, and if I'm wrong, well, you got to show me that I'm wrong. But based on what I'm looking at, when I see that Liz Cambage is not in the WNBA, she is the best player in the WNBA when she plays. She's not in the league. When I see Tia Cooper, who should be starting on almost any team, is not in the league. Shyla Hill, who was a number 4 pick in the draft, got cut 2 games into her career. Maybe Candace Wiggins is kind of right. I Really Hoop says Tia Cooper and her brother got blackballed. I don't know about her brother getting blackballed. I don't know if he got blackballed. I just think he's a small guard, and it's just really hard for small guards to find their way in the NBA. All right. But we're going to go ahead and drop the link, man. I want to get people talking about this, man. And Instinct said he hit the cash app. Let me check this out, man, because I definitely want to give a shout out. And my apologies if I forget to call your cash app out. Sometimes I get so invested into these topics that, and these notifications just don't pop up on my phone. It's crazy. All right, salute. Let's make sure we give him a proper shout out, man. Yeah, salute to Instinct, man, for hitting the cash out, man, supporting the channel, man. Let me make sure I put his comment on the screen, man. Instinct Tech, salute, man. Definitely appreciate that, man. Right? If you got a channel, Instinct Takes, man, you got to let us know in the chat, man. Let us know in the chat, man, so we can go check you out. All right, but definitely appreciate you, man, supporting FYF Sports, man, any way that you can. Salute to April Harmony as well. She says the WNBA will never let real-looking straight women thrive in the WNBA. Never. They won't allow it anymore. And that is 100% facts. That's why their league is not thriving. Because they have a league that's more focused on pushing a movement than pushing basketball. There was a point in time in the WNBA when they were actually pushing real basketball. When they were actually pushing real basketball, this is when we knew Cynthia Cooper was the Michael Jordan of that league. There was no questions about that. But this is when we knew, when we talked about the New York Liberty, we knew Rebecca Lobo was over there leading that team. Right? Right. When we talked about the Houston Comets, we knew they had the big 4 over there. Easily the best team in WNBA history. When we talked about LA basketball in the WNBA, we know who the great player was over there. Lisa Ledley was holding it down. Even in Indiana. And even in Indiana, we had a star player to parade around. When the WNBA first started, they pushed their stars heavily. They pushed the rivalries. Right? They made us talk about basketball topics. And the games were much more engaging, man. But as it stands right now, I don't know who the best player. And the only reason and when we talk about Liz Cambage, a lot of us understand why we know a lot about Liz Cambage. Let's not lie about it. That's because she's marketing herself to the proper fan base. But outside of the Candace Parkers, which Candace Parker is on TNT talking every night. So she's putting herself out there, marketing herself. Outside of the players that market themselves, we don't know anything about the league. We don't know anything about its players. Again. And I don't think the WNBA wants to let people in on some of the things that they're doing. This is a horribly ran league. Like when I talk about Shyla Hill, who's not in the league anymore, she's the number 4 pick who was cut after like 2 games. Well, this is the only league in the world where in your first round draft, you have almost half the draft waived in the first year. Who does that? Why do you waive all of your new talent that soon? I Really Hoop says Candace Parker left a black man for a white woman. Damn. Yes, she did. And look, let's see. I Really Hoop. Check this out, y'all. I want y'all to do this. in the NBA, players get divorced, get married, start relationships, end relationships all the time. And you know what? We don't know about it half the time. Sometimes, like I think many of us, when it came out that Kawhi Leonard had a whole girlfriend and kids, I think people were surprised because he had such an odd personality. I thought this man had to be single, right? Sometimes we know so little about some of these players' personal life because we are so invested in what they actually do on the court. Can anybody here tell me who Joel Embiid is dating? Can anybody here tell me who Trae Young is dating? And the players that are in relationships, like the LeBrons and Steph Currys, the women that are connected, it's because they're married and those women have other business endeavors. And those women are not directly tied to any movement to push those players. Marcus Jones says Asia Wilson straight, right? I don't know. I got to check my list. I honestly don't know. But at this point in time, it's hard to say who's who because the WNBA is parading this league around as if everybody is part of this community. I know Johnny Ali, the fact that you said he's with some white girl, but the fact that we don't know her, we don't care. The fact that he's with somebody, nobody cares who he's with. Jimmy Butler, nobody cares who he's dating. And for the players that like to have their business paraded around the internet and they're into messy relationships, like Bo was in Denver, they find themselves on the end of the bench not playing until they get that off the court stuff cleaned up. Peanut says, I got a list. Yeah, I got a list right here. No, but this list was compiled. There's a research firm called Outpost Sports. They put together a list. They put together a list of the openly gay women in the WNBA, the ones that actually push it, right? Courtney Vandersloot, Candace Parker, DeWanna Bonner, right? If I start to name some of the top players in the league, these are all players that are just openly, either they're openly because they've said it or they're just living that lifestyle openly because they're dating someone. Let me go ahead and get this link together right here, man, because again, when is the WNBA going to actually take some negative criticism and make the necessary changes? Because at its peak, it was a very fun league to watch. And why was it a fun league to watch? Look, the NBA was over with. There was really no other basketball to watch. And the one thing that basketball fans have shown is that when the NBA season ends, we will watch any brand of basketball just to continue watching basketball. This is why everyone caters toward the big three or the $1 million tournament that we see every year. Right? We cater towards whatever basketball is getting played. We've seen it happen with the Drew League, and the NBA started playing the Drew League. Right? When the NBA started streaming those Drew League games, we watched. Right? The NBA started getting their NBA players to go play in some of the Drew League games to push more basketball on us. They're pushing basketball. They're not pushing off the court lifestyles, which nobody cares about, especially sports fans. The number one way to drive away a sports fan, push them a product that has nothing to do with sports. Let's get this link in here, man. Let's get people in here to chop it up. Like I said, I don't expect to be live a lot with this because again, this is a topic right here that a lot of people are scared to have. This is a conversation that why, and here's the kicker to this. Why are a lot of people scared to have this conversation? Because the LGBT community is known for what? They are known for canceling anybody that pushes back against their agenda. This is really the only reason why people don't say this. It's really the only reason why people don't say it. Because they have a strong cancel culture. They know how to cancel people. That's it. I mean, if they have a strong enough community to convince Joe Biden to trade the merchant of death for Brittany Griner, then there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. I want y'all to think about this, y'all. The Justice Department recommended to Joe Biden, don't do the trade. The head of the FBI recommended to Joe Biden, please don't do this trade. Almost every major media outlet told Joe Biden, please don't do this trade. The LGBT community comes knocking on Joe Biden's door. You better do that fucking trade. That motherfucker, he did that trade fast as hell. I want y'all to think about that, y'all. The most trusted security departments in the world told Joe Biden, please don't do this shit. LGBTQ comes knocking. And that man folded. That man folded so fast. It was crazy. Hold on, y'all. Am I wrong or am I right? 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 Because it wasn't about bringing Brittany Griner home. It wasn't about getting Americans out of Russia. Because if it was about getting Americans out of Russia, then they would have got Paul Whelan too. Paul Whelan, the guy that served in the military 16 years. Bogus claims by the Russian government that he was a spy. They've been holding this man for a long time. I mean, remember, Brittany Griner just got there. Right? Brittany Griner still got fresh money on her commissary books, if they got commissary over there. She had fresh money. Paul Whelan money done ran out. Right? If you've been locked up as long as Paul Whelan has, all the people that was putting money in your books is washed up. It's wraps. Ain't nobody putting no money over there. So he ain't even getting the oodles and noodles anymore. No, I'm not on no Kanye vibes with this topic. How's that Kanye vibes? I'm one of the few people that still want to see the WNBA thrive. All right. I'm one of the few people. To be honest, y'all, it's a lot of people that just basically said, fuck the WNBA. A lot of people be like, I don't care about them no more. It's a ton of people that have just completely given up on it. The WNBA has created a sect of fans that will not watch no matter what now. I don't care how much they improve their product. They're not watching. This is what the WNBA has created. They created this themselves. I'm one of the few that's basically saying all you got to do, make a tweak here, make a tweak there. Silence these people over here. Stop pushing this narrative. And you might be able to resurrect a few fans. You're not going to get them all back because the WNBA spent too much time doing a ton of damage. I mean, the WNBA has spent a lot of time doing damage to its own league. Like when the WNBA sends its players out, to get on these podcasts, and then you got these women talking about Joe Ingles, he makes more than the entire WNBA. Look, y'all. Men don't care to hear you cry about how much money you're not making. Right? Because we all know that NBA players are rich because we are invested in the product. We buy the products, we buy the merch, we watch, we add to the media dollars that they get. We've essentially made all these guys millionaires. WNBA players, you guys are not millionaires because you're not giving us a product that we want to watch. Salute. Hopefully, I don't say this wrong. Kenna H, man. Salute to Kenna H, man. Appreciate you pulling up to the show today. We got H-Town Black. And he's back today. We got Art Escobar. He says, Jay got a certain discussion started And so is Lamont with this topic. Look, y'all. Look, I'm bringing up this topic for the betterment of the WNBA. See, the one thing the WNBA seems to be resistant to any negative criticism. I'm continuously watching their players run around. When I watch one of the WNBA players, when they're sitting down talking to NBA players, and this is what they say: well, we think instead of y'all players going to the casino one night, you can give some money to the WNBA. What? Oh, so you just want a little bit of socialism. So you just want some players to just walk over there and hand you guys some checks. And then you guys still continue to go play in empty gyms. All right. The WNBA players don't want to ditch their pride and lower the rims so that we can start seeing somebody get dunked on. They don't want to lower their pride because the thing is, if the WNBA, we know that WNBA players understand that there's a gap with men and women's sports. This is why women have a smaller and lighter ball. Because if you hand women the men's ball, we're going to see more air balls than we've ever seen in basketball history because the ball's heavier. Where's the pride? Shaq, a basketball player, gave you a great idea. Maybe we lower the rims so we can start seeing dunks, something. You already have a smaller ball, so we understand that there's a strength gap. But you're missing an entire element of the game that adds to the wow factor. People will watch slam ball. Slam ball is a league where men are just bouncing around on a rubber court just to see who gets dunked on. You're not even dribbling. We don't even care about the dribble in slam ball, none of that. We just want to see people bounce around until somebody, that's how important the dunk is. That people created a whole league predicated on just getting dunked on and people watch. I literally watched slam ball grab 12 of the hottest YouTubers, live stream it, and they had about 40,000 people watching some YouTubers play slam ball just so we can see who gets dunked on. Yet with the WNBA, what are we watching for? When I watch the WNBA game, what's the wow factor that I'm going to see? What am I going to see at a WNBA game that I can't see at a 7th grade AAU basketball game? At least at the 7th grade AAU boys basketball game, I can see somebody get dunked on. That's what I know I can see. Hey, man, link is in the panel, man. Link is in the chat, man. Salute, man. We got Joe Sutton in the panel, man. Salute to Joe Sutton as well. Man, Joe Sutton with the graduation cap on, man. Graduated, man. Salute, man. Congrats. Hopefully that picture's fresh. DJ Reach, man, in the chat. He says, my pro-am games in Pittsburgh get bigger crowds. Facts, DJ Reach. Facts. He says, I think the WNBA, but see, Thunder. See, now the problem with the WNBA, now that the WNBA has created such a massive problem with promoting and pushing the LGBTQ, that even if they wanted to lower the rims, it would probably take them 10 to 15 years to clean up the mess that they've created. It's going to take them a long time to fix this mess because they've ingrained the whole community into their league. And like I said, their league has turned the WNBA into an extension branch of the LGBT community. Now, look, I don't knock that. If that's what they choose to do with their league, I don't knock it. But then don't turn around and tell me, oh, we need help from WNBA players, man. We need more money. But don't come to me talking about more money and XYZ over here. No, I don't want to hear that conversation. Man, salute, Mingo Jester, man. Appreciate you.
Salute, man. Salute, man.
And Mingo, man, what do you got on this topic, man?
Man, it's just a lot, man. Like all the stuff that you said was definitely fact. I don't disagree with nothing you said. I've been listening the whole time. Also, I mean, when you got the FBI warning you not to let a certain guy out of prison, I mean, I would say not to let that person out of prison. But anyway, back to the topic. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch going on with the WNBA now. I mean, back in the day, I used to watch the WNBA, you know, with the Cheryl Swoop, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson, you know, you got the Sue Birds and the, you know, those people, Lisa Les. I used to watch it back then. I actually used to know what was going on back then.
Mm-hmm.
But see, now it's just unwatchable now. I don't even know. Like the player, like then they get rid of all like the players that I was watching, like Tia Cooper, for example. When they got rid of Tia Cooper, I was like, what is going on with the WNBA? This is not good. Not for me or anybody that even actually watch it. Like that was bad for Tia Cooper. Now I ain't understand that at all. Then not to mention they got the whole, you know, I guess I'm gonna say alphabet. They got the whole alphabet thing going on. You remember the story came out about Skylar Diggins? They got mad at her because she didn't want to be a part of it. And they try to do something with her money or try to cut her contract or something like that it was. And they got mad at her because she got a husband. She got married like that next year, something like that. You remember that?
So you had a whole episode as well.
Yeah, it was just weird, man. I was just like, man, the WNBA is they making their product unwatchable. Like, dude, y'all begging for money, but y'all trying so hard to keeping people from watching y'all product. I mean, it's crazy, man. I'd be like, well, y'all gonna keep begging for money, man. LeBron and them ain't studying y'all. They're gonna keep playing their games, keep doing their thing, keep making their millions and millions and millions of dollars. Y'all gonna be steady sitting there crying. It's kind of funny a little bit, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the WNBA is unwatchable now. It's very unwatchable. I can understand why Liz Cambridge got a OnlyFans now. They all might as well get an OnlyFans. That's the only way they're gonna make some money.
But you know the crazy thing is, as soon as she got that OnlyFans, I was even telling myself then, I said it's only a matter of time before she's not in the WNBA, because the WNBA that is pushing against so much of what they represent now. I said there's no way that's gonna last. They're either gonna tell her she needs to shut it down, or they're gonna find a way to push her out the league. And what happened? You've now pushed her out the league. I mean, that's what happened, and it's crazy.
They're getting rid of all the good, and that's my thing. That's my other point, Lamont. They're getting rid of all the good players. All the players that can actually play, except Aja Wilson. Now, she good. I mean, you can watch her, catch her every now and again. Aja Wilson pretty good, but other than her, I mean, the WNBA ain't exciting to me. I don't know, but you can go into the next person because I ain't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, brother. I don't feel like I just don't feel like the product is worth watching. Like, not even just to be bashing them like that. It's just, and then to say, well, if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard one of them say they should be getting just as much as NBA players or something similar to it. Like, that's just, I mean, we got to be for real here, man. It's not the same at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still watch women's college ball, like Baylor or Connecticut and Stanford. I like watching them. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the WNBA talent is like, man, like really since Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops and, you know, Tina Thompson, them, Teresa Witherspoon, them, I used to watch it back then, man, like you said. But like, I mean, now, like as of recently, it's just like I was being funny in the comments, but I mean, I really couldn't tell you who won the championship that just passed. I don't know. Before that one, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with it. It's just it's unwatchable to me. It's just not watchable.
I know who won it though. The Las Vegas A's won it.
Yeah. I think my man told me in the comments. He was like, "Yeah, the Aces won." I was like, "Oh shit! Oh, okay. Who on that team?"
Look, this is what Liz Cambridge said. This is what Liz Cambridge said. She says we sign $1 million contracts in Asia and Russia and get treated like royalty. But she said when we're here in America, we're back. She says we're in the back of a plane playing back to backs. And she just talked about the difference between playing overseas, how the money is there to treat them much better. I mean, obviously, they're only making $1 million contracts over there because the money is there. The fan base is there. But when they come back here to America, because this movement's getting pushed so much, they've dwindled the WNBA to an extremely non-profitable league. And I don't even know how much longer they can exist playing at this level. I mean, to operate at a deficit for this long and to continue being in business, I mean, I think the LGBT community might be the only thing that's keeping them afloat right now.
Hey, man, look, the Comets won 4 championships, and we're not even a franchise no more. That just so what that tell you? Shit.
Wait, what happened?
The comments, our franchise won 4 championships and we're not even a franchise
In a
anymore.
row. No,
That's
in a
just
row.
showing
in a
how much
row.
money they losing as a league.
Yeah,
That's the
he's
craziest thing about it.
the Houston comments. He's talking about the Houston comments.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna keep it short and brief, man, because this is all crazy to me. I'm gonna tell you how bad it is. I personally believe the WNBA is suffering the way it is because, for one, the way they market their league is horrible. Like you said, they push inside agendas, and on top of all of that, women, as far as the country, spend more money than men. We all know that based off the numbers. Makeup is a $1 billion industry. High fashion, like expensive clothes, $1 billion industry. Nails, makeup, cosmetics, $1 billion industry. Hair, weave, $1 billion industry. These are all things that women pour billions of dollars into. Women don't even support the WNBA. I'm gonna tell you how bad it's gotten. They came up with a buns and basketball league with strippers. They got strippers with their cheeks out that can't even play basketball. They selling out. Packing. I'm talking about packed. It's packed. They selling out. Mainly guys are showing up to this. The professional league, on the other hand, struggling for fans. It's comical. It's truly sad to the women that really want to play basketball, that grew up loving basketball. That was like, okay, they really don't have a real league that they can go to and make actual money in because the way they market the league. And when you, like you said, if you go to the extent of waiving the 4th overall pick, what you say, like a couple games into the season?
Yeah, like 2 games into the season.
That's a reflection of the way that they run their league. It's trash. They have to be held accountable. And the fact that they consistently throw little jabs and shots at NBA players, and the fact that the NBA is literally funding the league and keeping them afloat is hilarious to me. Like, even Brittany Griner, for instance, the whole situation with Brittany Griner. How do you trade the real John Wick for Brittany Griner?
God,
Like, no funny. Like, I'm not even being funny. He the real John Wick.
He's not John Wick. I don't know why people.
Hey, man, he was an arms dealer, man. He was an arms dealer.
He hasn't killed anybody. John Wick was killing people.
He was an arms dealer,
He
man.
didn't kill people, but he was dropping off care packages.
John Wick was killing people. It's a difference.
I did a little research on him. They say
He
that
more
man
like-
had 200
He more like Raymond Reddington off a
commercial
Blacklist.
planes. He had 200 commercial planes, and he had bombs, and he was an arms dealer. So he was dropping off care packages. You traded him for Brittany Griner straight up. That just showed the impact that community has.
Hey, no. This I'm gonna tell you. I saw a documentary on this dude. This is how cold this dude was, right? This dude would, like, let's say me and Mingo Jester had our own countries and we in a war.
Right.
Dude would come in the back door.
On both sides.
He'd sell me sonic missiles, right? Then after dropping the sonic missiles off, he slides over to Mingo. I just sold him sonic missiles. He about to fuck you up. I got these missiles
Yep.
that do a little bit more damage. And he literally just inciting wars. Or he would just go to another country and be like, I just dropped these bombs off in your neighboring country, and I have a good feeling they about to use them on y'all. Y'all should probably go ahead and gear up with these missiles. Bro, he was cold with it. He wasn't just an arms dealer. He incited wars. Like, I want y'all to think about it. Y'all know how hard it is to incite war? He incited wars, man. And first of all, you know how hard it is just to get missiles to sell. Right, man? The man is like, and we trade. And so Brittany Griner's come back to the U.S. Like, so I'm almost positive the Merchant of Death is already back to work in Russia.
He is.
What is Brittany Griner back to doing?
Oh,
I mean,
man.
what is Brittany Griner? Because if he gets, so the thing is, because like I said, this is how you tell the trade's not equal. So if he gets back to work,
people die.
We gonna see it. We gonna see the impact on CNN. If Brittany Griner gets back to work,
nobody even pays attention to it.
Yeah, we might not even see a YouTube clip about it. Like that's the crazy man. It's crazy, man.
Hey,
man.
if you look at it like this though, that probably works out in the best. That probably works out in the best interest of the.
Echo, man.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's an echo.
Whoa.
Oh, Fred Dorsey got the echo. Fred Dorsey, you got an echo, man.
I can't even hear what he's saying.
Okay, so
I was just gonna say, that probably works out in the best interest for America too. I mean, shit, America, as we know, we like getting into shit. So having a dude like him on the loose, you know what I'm saying, could incite some shit. They already trying to start up another war. So shit. I mean, I can see it being beneficial to them too.
Man, Brittany Griner got used as a political pawn. That's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, I said that already. Yo, I said that already.
That's
I already knew what that was about. Yeah,
that's how it was. They don't really care about Brittany Griner. They didn't care about her to begin with. The only reason I feel like they got involved to begin with is because she's LGBT. She was a regular straight black woman. They got caught up with some cartridges, you know, the little weed pens or whatever that she was selling. I genuinely believe they wouldn't even care about it. They would completely sweep it under the rug.
Nah, hold on, man. If she was a white woman, they was definitely gonna go get her. It wouldn't even last that long.
Hold on, no, that's not true.
I'm joking, bro. I'm joking, man. I'm joking,
I don't
man.
think they even care, to be honest. Like, I just think the fact that she gay, like, hey, it brings headlines. It makes people mad. It makes certain people like angry and upset that she's in, as they say, held captive and all this other crazy stuff. Like she didn't do.
Hold on 1 second, Anthony. Hold on 1 second. Fred Dorsey was saying, yeah, Fred was saying something, but Fred, you was on mute. We couldn't hear you.
He's still talking.
You got to unmute yourself.
Fred,
you got to unmute yourself.
Man, Fred been struggling with stream the last couple.
Can you hear me again?
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Fred. We hear you now. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got to repeat what you said. We missed out on.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. Well, like I was saying, Brittany Griner was a civilian. Okay. She had nothing to do with the spy game. Wheeler, on the other hand, was recruited by the CIA, paid by the CIA, and was made a deal that they would clean up his military record so he would no longer have a dishonorable discharge for forging checks. If you look up his history, you will see so he got paid to be a spy. He did his job. He received that flash drive with Russian military secrets on it. And he had to pay the price. Now, if you guys are okay with a black woman being what is the equivalent of a Russian slave, because they sent her to a work camp for political prisoners, so they worked them to death.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can live with that, then okay, it's fine by me. But my opinion is she should have been set free a long time ago.
I agree.
Well, let me ask you this question. Hold on, Fred Dorsey. I took a visit to Westville Correctional Facility, and I saw the equivalent of black men as slaves working for Airmark, slaving in kitchens, most making nothing. And if you were on good behavior, you could make about 17 cents a day or something like that.
Wow.
So that happens here in the U.S. with black men on a daily basis. Nobody's advocating for these guys to get paid better wages. Nobody's advocating for them to get real treatment with regards to being able.
Agree.
So what I'm saying is Brittany Griner, who clearly committed a crime in a completely another country where they've outlawed and like that drug. You get caught. Remember, this is what a lot of people are getting confused. This wasn't her first time getting caught.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So again, the penalty that she received was much harsher because they've let her go multiple other times for other transgressions. Now she's gotten caught one other time with weed. They let her slide. She got in trouble another time and the Phoenix Mercury had to call to bail her out. This was her third time getting in trouble over in Russia.
Okay.
And so now they cracked her on the head now because basically they didn't let her slide twice. So now they cracked her on her head finally. And then now everybody want to get in the uproar and then just completely disregard everything that she did.
I can see your point,
quick,
but my counterpoint is,
I got one question.
what about
Now-
the brother? What
Okay,
about
good.
the brother in Louisiana who got a life sentence for a joint? I don't see y'all marching on him.
No,
That's the point we making.
That's the point we're making. We're like, the thing is, sometimes if you do the crime, you got to do the time. And for her, we have a whole community advocating for her to get freed. But at the end of the day,
that's in Louisiana. That's right here in Louisiana.
I know.
In the United States of America, a black man went to prison for life over a joint.
Yeah, he probably did. Probably his third strike. That's what it sounds like. And then he struck out.
Now let's reverse the situation and say that a black man got caught in Russia with weed. Do you even think this will even make the news?
It don't matter if it's a third strike. It's the point of a joint got that man a life sentence.
I understand what you're saying, but this is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a double standard if we being all the way honest about the situation. Because like I said, if it was
Now
a black man
you got
in Russia that
almost
got caught with
37
weed,
states
Hey, he got a
United
delay.
States
He has a
that
delay. I
legalize
think.
drugs and legalize weed in one form or another, but we ain't up there marching over that.
Well, nobody marched over Brittany Griner.
I'm gonna stick to what I'm saying, man. I genuinely believe the only reason they care is because she gay. I don't even think it's because she's a black woman.
We can't march in Russia. What are you? They can't. Even Russians can't march in Russia.
Well, you got to think though, Fred. What we're trying to say
back
is,
to the main point.
Hold on, Fred has a delay. He has a bad delay.
Yeah, it took him 20 minutes to get what you said.
Fred, are you listening through the StreamYard?
I think because I'm in California, so you have to excuse the time delay.
I'm in Cali right now. My delay pretty good.
Nah, that's not what it is. He probably got two things open.
Yeah, he's probably listening on the YouTube or something. I don't know. Something going on with this delay. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Fred, when Fred comes back, I'm gonna put in Fred. When you come back, close your YouTube app and just listen through the StreamYard so you don't have that delay. All right, just make sure you do that. But no, I didn't want to turn this into comparing penalties here in the U.S. and then here in Russia. I think the thing was. I think the one thing that was clearly obvious is that she got in trouble in Russia, which is something you just don't do. Just like you don't go to Korea and you get in trouble in North Korea. We all understand. I'm sure she was warned, don't do this in Russia. There's harsher penalties over here for these things, and there probably won't be anybody to bail you out if you get in trouble. But fortunately enough for her, she had a certain community behind her that was able to advocate for her release, irregardless of what the Justice Department recommended. Which is just not going to be safe for the world to make this trade.
But see, my thing is, though, I don't have a problem with them getting her released. I don't have a problem with them advocating on getting her released. My only problem I had with the whole situation was you letting this dude go to get her released. Man, this is one of the most dangerous dudes in the world. Outside of, say, Osama bin Laden and maybe Saddam Hussein. Outside of those two guys, bro, this might be one of the most dangerous guys in the world, and y'all let him go. Y'all let him, okay.
Right.
But see, I think this right here is now that I feel like the LGBT movement, the people that push that movement, now that they've successfully gotten Brittany Griner released, it's almost as if they had the handcuffs, right? They have the handcuffs on the WNBA. Now the WNBA has to completely capitulate to everything that they ask of them, and so the WNBA will never, with these handcuffs to this community, they will never be able to thrive. That's what I'm talking about. When they connect themselves, just like the guy in the chat said. He said when Brittany Griner was at Baylor, they did everything to get her from coming out public about her sexuality. I wonder why. When even like the article that I pulled up earlier, there was a WNBA executive that said when this league first started, one of our main marketing agendas was how to keep the lesbianism in the league out of the media. But the thing is, keeping that away from basketball leads to a thriving league because sports fans don't necessarily care about that. And when you start to add that in, you push sports fans away. That's what's happening, though.
That's true. You got a
In a tight
point.
spot.
I mean, you really want to compare it to the NBA. Who was that on the Memphis Grizzlies? Desmond Bain. I think it's Desmond Bain. He was front row with a tranny.
Nah,
And they
No,
talked
that's
about that for like
Dylan
a
Brooks.
day.
That's Dylan Brooks.
Oh, you're right, Dylan Brooks. They
Bro,
only talked about that for like a day or two. They didn't really care.
I ain't even never hear about that.
Yeah, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Just for the comparison, you know what I mean? Compared to, they don't even care in the NBA. Oh, I don't know. It's just she's just a political
like the thing. The media will try to make it a topic, like with some athletes, like they did with Dwight Howard. Hold on, somebody got an echo. Oh, that's Anthony. Anthony, you got an echo going on. But no, the media will try to make it an issue. But the NBA does a good job of not getting baited in and allowing it to evolve into some snowballing story that we don't stop talking about. So it's not like I'm not saying that homosexuality doesn't happen in the WNBA. I mean, in the NBA, it probably does. Probably more so than we probably are thinking about. But the NBA is not allowing that to dominate their league. No other sports league is allowing an outside movement to dominate their league. What other league can we think of has that close of a connection?
That does dominate the league. Yeah.
No, hold on. No, BLM dominated the NBA for 1 year. And what did the NBA immediately do that next year? Disassociated himself from BLM. Because when you tie yourself to a movement, you completely start to lose your sports base. Anthony, you still got an echo. You still got an echo, Anthony. I mean, again, it's proven. The NBA should be their example. You stop tying yourself to these communities.
It's just the child company.
The WNBA is not the NBA.
Yes, it is. The NBA owns the WNBA.
The NBA is not the WNBA because if it was the same, then we would watch.
It is, yo.
I mean, I don't care.
The WNBA.
And I mean, there are some NBA owners who own the WNBA affiliate team, but that's not the case.
Created the WNBA, bro.
I don't care who create. I don't. But okay, so because the NBA created the WNBA, which is probably not true.
Freelance and do their own thing.
What?
They just let them freelance and do their own thing.
What do you mean freelance?
Like they don't have the same governors and commissioners and all that. They do their own thing.
So are you saying it's the NBA's responsibility to make sure that the WNBA thrives?
Because if you're my child, you're grown enough to do your own thing now.
No, but you brought up that the NBA created the WNBA. What was the point you were trying to make with that?
No, the point of me making it up was the NBA birthed the WNBA and babied it so much early on. Now it's his time to grow and do his own thing and branch off. Model yourself as the NBA, as you was early on.
But you don't have a product, though. That's the thing.
Right.
You got players.
You don't have a product, bro.
Bro, they do, yo.
Okay, could you name the product?
And I'm on record to saying I'm the only one that in 2K plays with WNBA games.
You said 2K.
That's 2K.
Man, come on, man. Come on,
man.
Hold on, y'all. Let Ralph talk. Let Ralph cook, y'all.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Go ahead and cook, Ralph. Tell us about that 2K experience, man.
No, I'm on record saying I play them in the game and watch their game.
I'll tell
Who's
you
your
this.
favorite? Who's your favorite player to play with? WNBA character in 2K.
That the white John that been cooking lately, like when she was in the Olympics, the point guard. What's her name? I forgot her name.
Hold on, how do you not know her name, man?
The white John, man.
forgot her name, yo.
You forgot her name.
Oh man.
Ralph,
know-
you're not making a good representation of the WNBA. If the first thing that you tell us is that the player that you play with most on the game, you forgot her whole name. Nobody forgets LeBron if you play with LeBron. You don't forget Curry or all these guys. How you forget the best player in the game? His name.
Who, Kelsey Plum?
I think
You don't know.
I think that's her name. I'm not sure. I forgot her name.
But
Hey, point proven, man. Point proven.
but-
They don't have the product, man. They don't have the product.
But do you know the women game mode in NBA 2K? So least play game mode in 2K, right? It's statistics on this.
Twins from the Sparks. I fuck with them too.
Oh,
Huh?
From Africa, the Mbaba. I can't pronounce their name.
Oh boy.
Man.
come on, Ralph, man. Ralph, you got to help us, man.
That wasn't good, man. That wasn't good.
Yeah,
Ralph, that might have just proved the point that the WNBA does a horrible job of marketing its players.
Right, because I mean, they done such a horrible job that he brought up NBA 2K. Lord have mercy. Oh boy.
And look, I don't not. I like I said, I like the fact that they're in 2K. I don't mind that at all. You know, it is what it
Brianna
is.
Stewart, I think, yo.
Okay, the MVP of the league, Brianna Stewart. You forgot her name.
Damn. Well, that's tough. Yeah, it's
Brianna Stewart.
it's not a good product, man. It's just not a good product.
And like I said, the what is the most recent piece of news that I remember seeing about Brianna Stewart wasn't even the fact that she's an MVP player. It was that she got married to another woman. That's the most recent news that I saw about it. That's the problem right there. Candace Parker. When we think of Candace Parker now, what's the most recent big news that we heard released about Candace Parker? It wasn't about her. She left a man and she married a woman and they adopted a kid or something with a kid. I don't know what's going on over there. Same with Sue Bird. We know they've been promoting Sue Bird's relationship with another woman. Same with Elena Delle Donne, one of the best players in the league. What do we know about Elena Delle Donne? Well, we know that she's with a woman. That's the last piece of news I remember seeing about her.
It was the same thing with Cheryl Swoops back in back when it comes was around. She had left her husband. They had just had a son. Then she ended up, getting with a woman. And that was pretty much, the end. So I mean, that's just been the same really the whole time, and that's fine. I mean, hey, I don't know why their sexuality needs to be pushed so hard. That's what I don't understand. I mean, why is just not a normal thing like anything else in the world?
It's always publicized.
Yeah, what I'm saying. Why I gotta be publicized? Okay, you like the scissor or whatever. That's your thing. Do your thing.
My God.
Hold on. B. Jones says, who are we saying actually promotes it though? ESPN. I mean,
White people promote it.
Well, the WNBA promotes itself. I mean, so when you watch a WNBA game, all you have to do is look at who they turn the cameras to sometimes. Like, there was one time when Sue Bird was sitting in the crowd with her girlfriend, and they was like, "Oh, here's Sue Bird and her girlfriend." It's like, that was kind of unnecessary. Like, we don't care in the middle of a game. I mean, so they kind of promoted themselves, and I mean, you can just look, just go through any media, whatever media outlets that they use to promote themselves. All right, Pride Month is really big. Just go to a WNBA game, and if you sit courtside, that's all you're surrounded by. Which again, there's no problem with being surrounded by that community, but we know who's pushing that league.
Well, if I can make a suggestion,
yeah.
Okay. Why don't they let trans play in the WNBA? Trans women.
No.
Come on. You will watch it.
The whole channel said down.
I knew the nonsense was about to start. I knew the nonsense was about to start. Now
Hey,
you
the
got
whole channel gonna get shut down, man.
Hey, Lamar.
I mean, when you watch that,
Okay, hold on.
you just want to see it. Just
Man,
see
she
the
gonna
freak
score
show.
400
Come
points
on
a
now.
game,
Keep it
bro.
real.
Now, hold on.
Once
The
again.
Fred Dorsey's look, y'all. Fred Dorsey. There has been so again. You would think You would think that if a trans player signed into the WNBA, they would promote and push that bigger than anything, right? But they didn't. They didn't push it.
Because
There
the
was
women
a
know.
trans player. There was a trans player that signed. Lashaya Clarendon became the first trans player to play. Played in the WNBA, joined in 2013, and is now they say she's, or he, however you want to define it, is in her 9th season. But we don't know nothing about this player.
Never even heard of her. That was my first time even hearing they name.
Can she dunk the ball?
No, just not very good. Just a guy that, just similar to the boys that ran track in Connecticut. They were just very mediocre men's basketball players, but when they joined the women's track team, they broke every goddamn state record.
Same thing with the swimming.
My whole thing is all them air balls the women be showing, these so-called professional basketball players who are women, all those air balls, they be messed up layups. So why don't you bring a couple trans? I don't like being disrespectful, but I got to use it. Bring a couple trannies into the league and see how that work out.
Damn.
No, you can't say it like that, man. Can't say it like that. Oh no,
That's what I'm saying. So what am I supposed to say? I'm a 60-year-old black man, okay? And we use all kind of derogatory terms. Now we're wondering what can we use that's not going to offend anybody's sensibility.
No, but you know what though? Fred does have a point to a certain degree. Look, if they want to start seeing the dunks, and first you have to find the trans athletes that can even do these things, can even play at that level, that want to play in the WNBA. That's what I believe. I don't believe, like I said, that sport is popular enough amongst that community to
I got
get the
another
stars
suggestion.
you need. Yeah.
I got another suggestion. What about the performance-enhancing sneakers that are prohibited in the NBA? Why don't we let the WNBA women have those sneakers?
Because it won't be enough to make them dunk.
Yeah.
It wouldn't?
No. Not consistently.
We got to go back to the trans then. Because that's the only way I'm ever going to watch.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but then
the only way I'm going to watch.
Revamp the league and make the overseas players come over here and make a redraft that way.
That won't help, bro. That won't help.
Exactly. So let me ask you, being real, wouldn't you be tempted to at least take a peek to see what's going on with them? The WNBA.
So let me put it like this, Fred Dorsey. If let's say this happens, y'all, and this is something in the time that we live in. This is something that could very well happen. We already saw it in men. A guy on the swimming side in college switched to the women's side, and he completely obliterated everybody he swam against. There is a chance that a guy who's an average D1 hooper can switch over to the women's side, and if you get an average D1 player in women's basketball, he will destroy them. It will not be close.
So then they will have to go ahead.
And I think all it would take is for one of these guys to switch over. When you got a big 6'9" guy switching over from the D1 side, and if he comes in and just completely dunks on people every play, I think people will watch. If it gets ridiculously crazy that he's just dunking on people every play, I think people would tune in. But then that would also turn the league into a gimmick. So you're not really tuning in to see competitive basketball. You just tuning in to see some type of gimmick. And that's what they're.
The whole premise is a gimmick. Women playing basketball.
That's how it was at Baylor with Griner
with Griner. That's exactly how it was with Baylor with Griner. She was that's everybody tuned in to see that, because it was like not to be funny, man, because I really like the system, man, but it was like a man amongst women. It just would. Man, I'm sorry, I ain't mean to say it. I ain't mean to say it like that, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it looked like. It was just, it was so totally unfair. So I mean,
oh man,
yeah, it's.
I mean, can I just make a viewpoint and just listen to me? When professional basketball first started off, it was a white only league, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When blacks were inserted into the league, we got dunking, we got all kind of ball dribbling, we got all kind of skills that brought the level up. Okay. Now, if we were to go ahead and, this 2022 America, if the LGBTQ, whatever they call, if they want us to treat them as equals, then treat them as equals. Let them get out there. And if they can identify and change their birth certificate to being a woman, then let them go out there and play female basketball.
Man, what's going to end up happening is though you gonna activate the feminism movement. Then it's like because we got to have men in our sport to make our sport look good.
Here's the funny thing.
They can't have it both ways.
No, but Fred Dorsey,
you're right.
No, Fred Dorsey. Let me tell y'all this right here. Now, so this is what's been going on, and this is where you have a clash in the LGBTQ movement with women's sports and the transgender movement don't coincide with each other, because if you allow transgender, like there's been this conversations about, do we allow transgenders into women's sports? Will allowing transgender men into women's sports, will that destroy women's sports? Because now you don't have natural born women playing the sport. You're going to have guys who transitioned over dominating the sport. We've seen this to a small degree already. And so then you're going to be taking opportunities away from women. So like he said, that you got the feminist movement that's going to kick in and be like, hold on, y'all killing these opportunities. As we've seen in Connecticut, you had 2 freshman boys who
that's kind of hypocritical. You can't have it both ways.
It is hypocritical, but again, this is their fight. I mean, we've seen it on a small scale. What happens when you allow?
No, hold on.
When you allow boys into a women's sport?
When they're demanding equal salaries to NBA players, they step outside. They cross that line. So now they have to deal with the reality that either you evolve and you grow, or you wilt. And right now they wilting. So my whole thing is, if they want, they got to make some sacrifices too.
But see, we're not disagreeing with what you're saying about it being unfair. We're not disagreeing with that. I understand exactly what you're saying.
I understand that. But the whole thing is, we can't be sitting up here blanket-footing around trying not to hurt people's feelings. Now, if they want, just like when you go on your job, you have standards that you have to meet in order to keep your job, right? Whether it's male, female, blind, crippled, crazy, gay, whatever. In order to compete in the job market, you got to step your game up. That's the way it works.
I mean, you're right to a certain degree, but I just think going that direction, it will work. It will have a positive short-term effect because people will tune in. But if you don't keep that, cycle of type of players coming into the league, it's just going to turn into a gimmick. And when that gimmick ends, if you don't continuously find transgender players that can play basketball at a high level and then come into the WNBA and dominate dunk on people, if you run out of those, if you run out of that type of player, then now your gimmick's up. And now you're back to square one trying to figure out how to market this product.
But my thing is, I'm looking right now saying that straight women get bullied and harassed. Let them pull that nonsense with some of them trannies and see what happens.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, man!
I mean, come on now.
Oh my goodness! So hold on. So
it's like.
But hold on. What ends up happening is
I'm not finna be soft as cotton on this issue.
But hold on. What's going to end up happening is if you got if you got a league, if you got a league full of transgender women, okay, I mean, let's just call a spade, man. How we looking at it? You in turn have a league full of dominant men. That's just what it is. We can play with it or however we want to, because that muscle mass is still gonna be the same. That's gonna be a guy playing in the league. So your league still being turned over to men regardless. However you want to look at it.
Okay, I agree with that. You make a valid point on that. But the whole thing is they want to be compensated the same as an NBA player. Well, guess what? You're going to have to work a little harder. You're going to have to bump into
no. Hold on.
You're going to have
Here's
to
my
do some
solution.
things.
Here's my solution to them getting compensated. Like, because it's all been about inclusion and equality. If you want to get compensated like an NBA player, just be good as an NBA player and go make the NBA. Because I don't doubt. The one thing I don't doubt, if there was a woman good enough to, we've already seen in the past, because there's one woman who's already made the NBA. She was good enough to play at that time. If you're good enough to play in the NBA will create a spot for you. If there was a woman out there that could play to the level that LeBron James plays at, I promise you she would be in the NBA. She would not be in the WNBA.
I thought the first person that I ever saw that I thought who could make the NBA, and I always make an argument for, was Diana Taurasi. I always thought her game was just that nice to me. You know what I'm saying? But
no, she would get destroyed.
She probably would. I'm just saying that's just who came to mind.
Yeah,
I mean,
NBA knows talent.
Ain't on the same level as LeBron, but he's a star in his own.
I thought Mark Cuban was gonna let Brittany Griner get a shot, because I mean he said he was.
No, bro.
Why can't you get a woman who can hit three?
I just wanted to see it. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, but H-Town, the reason why we haven't seen it is because if you take the best WNBA player and you stick her in the NBA, and people will really see the talent gap. That would literally be equivalent to putting an 8th grader or 9th grader boy in the WNBA. It's not going to look good. It just wouldn't look good. No, I'm not joking.
Okay. Then why don't you try this then? Why don't you try this? Why don't you get the NBA champion, right? You know, the ones who are champion in the exhibit game playing the worst NBA team.
What?
How's that?
Hold on. So first of all, we've already seen exhibits like this. So I remember about 8 years ago, the WNBA champions played in Indiana. The WNBA champions played the Indiana boys JV champions. No, the high school. So they didn't play the varsity champs. They played the boys JV junior varsity champions.
Damn.
And they didn't win. The women didn't win.
Damn.
So
wait a minute. The WNBA champ played a JV team?
Yeah, they lost.
What?
That's tough.
Then they don't need to exist.
Yeah, they shouldn't even be a league then. Yeah, they shouldn't even be a league at that point.
They shouldn't even be a league. Come on now.
Damn. I never knew that shit. That's bad.
Hold on. LA Sports, do y'all agree with this? LA Sports Live says Cheryl Miller was the only woman. No, Cheryl Miller cannot play in the NBA.
Nah, she's not big enough.
Cheryl Miller would have gotten destroyed. So Serena Williams is probably physically one of the most imposing women athletes that we've ever seen. And Serena Williams even admits that if I switch and go play against the men, I'm going to get destroyed to the degree that I've never seen in my whole life. And I'm sure Serena Williams practices against men to prepare for tournaments. So I think she understands that playing against men is not going to be – hold on. H-Town, somebody got an echo. I think that's H-Town.
Hold on, it might be me. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah. But so, again, if we look at the most physically imposing women's athlete that we've seen in this generation – and she understands, she's even publicly stated that there will be no way I could compete against men. Then how do we expect women in the WNBA who aren't as physically opposing go compete in a men's league to to that level. It's just, of course you're going to have those anomalies.
You have to understand, the women don't even want to compromise. They don't even want to lower the goal. Okay, so if they're going to hit that impasse where they don't want to try to compromise, then let them fail. We don't watch it anyway, so we ain't gonna miss them.
Well, they are failing. That's why we're having this conversation. They're definitely failing.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what my question is, though?
Let them fail themselves into extinction.
This
then
my question
once they hit
is,
rock bottom, maybe they'll listen to us then.
this
my
women
question. Don't listen to men until they need help.
You have a whole community. You have a whole community that's behind you. Like the whole that whole community is behind what they doing over there, and it's a lot of people. So why aren't they supporting the game? Why aren't they setting out the arenas?
Well, and that's H-Town. That's what I see. So this is the other issue. So this is what I said. Remember, with some of these communities, just the sport of basketball isn't the most popular sport. Sometimes you will have a segment of that community go support, but it's such a small segment that is not large enough to carry what WNBA players need to match salaries of the NBA players. So for the WNBA players to come close to what NBA players are making, they're going to have to find a way to tap into the male fan base. And that the men are what help. This is why they keep complaining to NBA players and they keep complaining to men. They keep saying, oh, NBA players need to do more or men need to come watch. And it's just like, you ain't giving us nothing to really come see.
Man,
but that's like child support. If it ain't my kid, I ain't paying for it.
Oh my God.
It's just like the rap game though, right? Like you got a lot of these, like you have a lot of women rappers that can spit bars like dudes, but what would a dude always tell them? You got to soften up a little bit. You got to talk about doing a little this and doing a little that. That'll make the men come and watch you. It's the same thing with the WNBA. Hey man, we want to see sexy when you're hooping. I mean, it might sound sexist, but that's what we want to see. If you got a whole bunch of Tia Coopers hooping in the league, oh, we watching. Know what I'm saying? Tighten them shorts up a little bit. We watching. Straight up.
Yeah, but bro,
we watching.
Mascara, as soon as they start sweating, that mascara gonna get in their eyes. How they
No. Well, look, hold on. First of all, you have to have a balance. So, hold on, H-Town, I'm gonna mute you just because you got.
Go ahead, my bad. Yeah, go ahead.
But you have to have a balance. You can't over sexualize the players, but you can't under sexualize them. So I'll give you a good example of a player that had a perfect balance. Some of you guys might remember is Tina Thompson. See, Tina Thompson, she understood that she needed to bring some level of sexuality to it, which is why she wore the lipstick. She had the lips that appealed to a lot of people. She understood that as well. But she didn't overdo it. She made sure she wore the red lipstick every game. Some people didn't like it. Some people did like it. Either way, this is what she was known for, but she didn't overdo it. So I think the WNBA can't overdo it and then just have them out there completely playing in lingerie like some people are saying. But I think there's a balance that they need to understand, that we need to have a little bit of it in the game, but not too much to where it dominates or it's the only reason why people are coming over here and watching. You just got to have that good balance. Because the first thing they got to do is they got to get people over there to see the product. Then they got to get people to get emotionally invested in the product, which means if we're not having these types of debate conversations about your game, if we're not having who's the GOAT, if we're not having who's the best player in the league conversations, it's not going to work, right? This is why we continuously watch the game now. Nobody has an emotional connection or tie to any team. They're trying to sell us players and movements.
I got a question.
Yeah.
When they have NBA weekend, right? Do the guys go to see the players, or do the guys know because the gold diggers are going to show up? The baddest women in the country going to show
weekend.
Up.
Okay.
I mean, All-Star.
Hold on.
I don't really do sports. I think it's slavery myself. But back to what you guys are talking about. If women show up to the NBA games, that's because there's a guy that they got these fantasies for. Okay? They don't really care about the basketball. They just want to see LeBron. They just want to see all the other stars, the men, because these are the alpha males. Okay, when they have All-Star Weekend, all the women flock to Vegas or wherever it is.
That's
Okay,
true.
why can't the WNBA do the same thing? But we have to realize ain't no groupies gonna show up for no person making $200,000 a year. They ain't gonna do it, and it's never gonna get past that point because if the women don't perform, they're never going to get those multi-million-dollar contracts. It's just simple business. You got to be a star in order to get compensated. And they not really stars. They charity cases.
Well, like I said, I mean, I don't know if that connection was good talking about groupies at an NBA All-Star game. I don't, because groupies in the NBA All-Star game, it's not enough of them to be considered a fan base that's adding to the revenue of the NBA.
I'm in LA, and anytime they have that, all the guys in LA saying we rolling to Vegas, man, it's gonna be a lot of women there, top flight women, and them dudes book their plans in advance. They get those hotels, they rent them cars, they get everything ready for that big hoopla. And if the WNBA can't do the same, and you know they're talking about 80% of them is women that like women, then hey, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not gonna sit up late at night worrying how are they gonna exist when they're meant for failure, because they don't wanna act right. They either compromise and they get that 8.5 goal. They wear some performance enhancing shoes. You know, they're gonna have to go ahead and evolve, because when the ABA and the WNBA merged together, they allowed certain things. They evolved the NBA to another level, and that was a compromise.
I think you go back to what you just said, though, Lamont. I think that's the biggest point right there, is the emotional attachment. Like we not sweating, we not spitting, arguing over our favorite player in that league. I think that's the main point right there. We have no emotional attachment to none of these players. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even it's no point of us even like I just said, man. We don't know who won the championship. My man didn't even know who his favorite player was.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's not.
Look,
I just thought of something.
Hold on, Fred. Look, I just want to stay on track with one thing real quick. So, as much as obviously this is not something that men are probably going to take notice of, but even the NBA understood there was a balance between promoting the physicality of their players to women. Because as you've seen, what have they done? Right? The NBA does surveys asking women, what do you guys want to see? What did women say in most of these surveys? They said, we want to see more legs showing, right? We want to see more arms showing. So what has the NBA proceeded to do? Right? They've banned certain undershirts. The shirts that you wear under your jersey, it has to have some type of connection to like health, like some type of shirt that is like, sometimes the shirts that they wear under their jersey has like a shoulder sleeve in it that is for injury. But if it's not to help prevent an injury, you can't wear that. And then what did they do to the shorts in the league? They made the shorts shorter, right? Because this is what women said they wanted to see. So the NBA said, you know what? We know the men might not notice or even care, but we're going to work with our sponsors. We're going to have Nike start selling shorter shorts to the AAU teams. We're going to start giving shorter shorts to the NBA players, because they understand that this is a fan base that we need to tap into. Will it work? We might get some fans. It might not work, but they're at least giving every segment of all fan bases that are attached to NBA, they're giving them something that they want. They're trying to give us the rivalries. They're giving us the level of competition, ton of games on TV, the player debates, all of that stuff. And then for the women's side, they're doing surveys trying to see what they want, and they're giving it to them. That's just, but the WNBA, when was the last time a survey from the WNBA came across your email asking, as a man who watches the NBA, what do you want to see to watch to make the WNBA more appealing to you? They don't reach out to the male fan base. They don't want to know what men want to see. They just want men to watch without question, and just to give money to their league even though they have nothing to cheer for. That's what it seems like they want. It's just the WNBA needs to find a way. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, is that the reason why they got rid of the sleeve jerseys they used to wear, like on Christmas days and stuff? Is that the reason why they got rid of the jerseys?
So the sleeve jerseys, I think a lot of the players gave pushback on that because a lot of players didn't like the way they fit. But remember, the league ended up banning undershirts. You used to be able to wear undershirts under your jersey. If you guys remember when Larry Johnson played and things like that. But what happened in the league basically said no undershirts because a lot of the surveys they were saying is women wanted to see the players' arms and see more skin. And then more surveys came out. We want to see a little bit more legs, so they shortened the shorts. The shorts are also a little bit tighter now, right? But they're just all they're doing is they're not pushing back on what this segment of this. There's just women probably they make up a segment of the NBA fan base too. They're not pushing back against what they're asking. They're just giving them a little bit of what they want to see. And they're giving every fan base that likes the NBA a little bit of what they want to see. The one thing that none of the fan bases in the NBA wanted or to have nothing to do with was the BLM. When they brought the social stuff in, none of the fan bases liked it. Women, men, black, white, I don't care who you were. So they had to so what did they do when they saw that their fan base did not want that social stuff in the game? They immediately got it out the game. And the WNBA needs to immediately try to find a way to separate themselves from the LGBT movement. They've become too closely connected now. And now they've segmented themselves from the only market base that would have made them profitable.
Do you think last time WNBA was at its peak when Maya Moore used to play? I remember they used to have her highlights all over Sports Center when she was dropping like 40-point games and stuff with the links and all that stuff. And they was comparing her with Katie.
I'm gonna tell you that's why it was. This is because women, the Minnesota team, it was looked at like a dynasty because remember they had like a big four over there. So again, that appeals to the male fan base because we love seeing dominant teams. So that Minnesota team was probably a dynasty. I would agree that they were a dynasty. Maya Moore led that dynasty, and then for whatever reason, when we talked about Maya Moore, we compared her to the greats like the Jordans and things like that. We use those comparisons when talking about her. But nobody, when we thought about Maya Moore, when we talked about Maya Moore, there was nobody was talking about who she was dating. It didn't become a conversation on who she was dating until she retired and we saw what she was doing with her time off the court. And she made all of that public because she had other endeavors. But outside of that, we just thought she was a hooper that could ball and she was leading one of the best dynasties in the WNBA. We didn't need the off the court stuff. Right. We didn't get the off the court stuff until she was done with the game or she stepped away from the game to do the off the court stuff. And I think the WNBA is trying to sell us what these women are doing off the court as if we care, which we don't. They're selling us what they're doing off the court before they sell us what these women can do on the court. That's their problem.
I got an observation. Why is it that gymnasts, okay, these are little petite women, right? They can go ahead and do a floor exercise and they jump almost 7 or 8 feet in the air. Okay, and tumbling. You understand what I'm saying? But you got a woman that's 6'8" and she ain't able to reach the goal. That means she ain't training. That means she ain't doing no leg exercise. So that goes down to laziness. That goes down to laziness.
No. I think if a gymnast could jump 7 feet in the air, I would probably put her on an NBA team. If you found me a woman that can jump that high, I would give her a shot.
Remember those people?
Yeah, but these women aren't jumping that high. They're not jumping 7 feet in the air. And then also when these gymnasts do these flips on some of these routines, they're on a special type of floor that lets them jump a lot higher. It's like a bouncy type of floor that they jump. It's like a springboard, like a springy floor.
Floor. Get a bouncy
floor. Hold on, Fred. Here's the reason why you don't need a bouncy floor. If you look to here, I'll put up let me put this post up right here. Let me show you guys this. It's what one of the players said. Hopefully I can find it. But basically, like I said before, Liz Cambridge said, when we're in Asia and we're in Russia, we can make an upwards of $1 million. Why are leagues in Asia and Russia thriving? They don't have to do anything special. Remember, the women play similar. Actually, those women over there are actually less skilled. They're less skilled. They don't have to have any frills. They don't have to lower the rim. The only difference between Asia and Russia basketball and then the United States is that in Asia and Russia, they haven't connected those teams. They haven't tied them to any social group like the LGBT community and pushed away an entire fan base. As opposed to here in the United States, they've pushed away an entire fan base because they've tied their league to some social movement that they didn't need to be affiliated with in the first place. And so that's the connection right there. You don't need all these special effects to get people to come. All you have to do is disconnect yourself from all of these movements and agendas and just allow the game
Well,
to
you
sell
have to
itself.
understand they do have advertisers who cater to these people. You got to understand it's not just they have advertisers that they have to answer to. So when the advertisers tell them, well, look, we're trying to get this demographic here. Hey, it's a money game, right? Okay, then. So they have to go ahead and I guess push this agenda because that's what the advertisers want. Because understand is if the NBA did something that the advertisers didn't like, they're going to pull back on it. They're going to be like, no, we're not going to sponsor you. We're not going to do all that. How come the advertisers didn't put their foot down about that?
Advertisers
Because
for who?
the advertisers want that.
What advertisers?
Whoever advertises on the WNBA when it's on TV. I don't know. I don't watch it.
The WNBA has just continuously lost advertisers because of it. That's what they've done over there. They've lost. This is why they're struggling financially because they're losing the advertisers that they need.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you something. Are they just like the NBA where the players get to run the hen house?
Well, they do have a CBA, and the women are struggling to negotiate. They're struggling to negotiate a better CBA agreement because the league is not profitable. The owners they don't have any motivation to agree to a deal that favors the players because most teams are operating at a loss. And if you agree to a deal that favors the players, then there will be no incentive on the players to start doing the things that they need to do individually to help also market the league. The league is doing a horrible job at marketing the league. The players themselves are doing a horrible job at marketing the league. I mean, it's the combined effort. The CBA agreement for the women, I will admit that the CBA agreement that the women signed is horrible. But if they feel that their CBA agreement is not a good agreement, they need to do what the men do. That's go strike. Strike until you get the deal that you want. But if you're not willing to do that, then they need to stop complaining about money and just start making changes to the league. There are other women's leagues in the world that are successful. Women's leagues in the world.
But they won't be missed. That's the whole thing. They won't be missed.
What do you mean?
The majority of us don't care. We don't care.
What do you mean?
I mean, understand, I don't live for women's basketball. I don't live for women's soccer. I just barely watch football. I mean, I'm still on the Colin Kaepernick strike. And I'm on a semi-strike with the NBA too. Now, because of Kyrie. Because I'm like, hey, man, brothers, and what amazes me is all these brothers went to college and are very educated, but they can't speak their mind. So that's slavery. That's slavery.
What?
You know, they always want to put a bobblehead in front of the TV to speak for us.
Look,
but then when we have successful black men who went to college, they cannot speak.
Fred, I don't want to get too off topic. I think the goal here is
okay.
Look, I think the goal here is the main point of this is, can women's basketball be profitable if marketed correctly? Yes, because we see basketball leagues in Asia and Russia, they're able to play WNBA players in upwards of $1 million to come over there and play. They even paid Diana Taurasi at one point in time to not play in the WNBA and just completely play in their league because they didn't want her to get hurt. I mean, they've done that before. So we know that they can be profitable. Now we just have to look at what are those leagues doing differently to market their league, as opposed to what the only difference that I can see. And if there's another difference, maybe somebody can come in and help me with that. But the only difference that I see is that in these other leagues, they're actually pushing basketball, and they haven't allowed their league to get connected or tied to some social movement or some, some social agenda that you're going to create an enormous divide with, and you're going to push fans away. That's the problem right there. It can be successful here, but they just got to try to stop selling the stuff that we don't care about, which is relationships with other women. We don't care to see that. We don't care to see it. We don't want to know. And they keep putting it in front of us like it's this big deal. They keep, every time I look on Bleacher Report, oh, such and such married her partner, this girl. Oh, these two coaches got married. Right. We don't care about that. Y'all don't tell us. They don't tell us when Kelly Oubre Jr. is dating a new chick. They don't tell us when RJ Barrett got married. We don't know these things. The WNBA let's keep your personal life in your personal life. And then even if you are a male NBA player in the LGBTQ community, that's your personal life. If you want to come forward, and we'll move on the next day, and we don't need to talk about it. But just like that NFL player, remember that NFL player last year came out, said, oh yeah, hey, y'all, I'm openly gay. What did the NFL do? All right, cool. Let's not talk about it ever again.
Right.
I don't even know the guy's name now. Like, that's what I'm saying. He probably feels stupid for even coming out, because it's just like, you did all this coming out in a league that knows it's not profitable to talk about what you do behind closed doors. Nobody cares. So, I mean, WNBA, they just need to clean their act up right there, and they get mad at people who tell them the truth. Hold on. He says, Dwight says, when you were in diapers, I was marching in the streets for equality for black people. Who was he talking to in the chat? What kind of conversation y'all got going on? Just Kyrie was having white women only parties. Now he is Malcolm X. Come on, y'all. Hold on. What were you doing at that party, DJ Reese? Because the only reason you would know that is because if it's white women only, the only way you would know is if you was there. Come on, DJ Reese. DJ Reese, you was there then. He says, somebody says, she says he didn't last long either. Michael Sam, I believe. Facts. Michael Sam really ruined his own career. He came out thinking that this big coming out was going to propel him and people would want to draft him. And really all you did was you just made NFL teams say, we don't want your messiness. Why are you out here telling us what you do in the bedroom when we only care about how many people you can goddamn block or whatever he does on the court? That's all we care about. You don't get paid to come out and talk about your personal stuff, man. He says, I was there. Oh, hold on. He said, I was there. He says, I was there. It was covered by Black Sports Online, Lamont. Do your research. Hold on. So you was at the party? Hold on, DJ Reese. You got to hit the link. I need you to tell us about your experience at this party. Hold on. Hit the link, DJ Reach, man. What was you doing at a white woman only party, man? Oh, he said I wasn't there. Now he backtracking. I swear he said I was there. First he said I was there. Then he said I wasn't there. Oh man, DJ Reach, man. Come on, man. It's all right, DJ Reach, man. He says he saw it on TV. Nah, he might have, man. I don't know, man. Well, salute to Jamar, man. He said, he read about it. He said it was a state. Nah, look, DJ Reese, it's okay. I believe you were there, though, DJ Reese. That was the first thing that you said. I believe you was there. I believe you probably had a great time. I think he meant he wasn't there. Probably a typo. Nah, Bootzilla. Don't be trying to bail people out, Bootzilla. He might have been there, but I don't know. Yeah, look, I didn't want this stream to go on too long. Right, I'm gonna be ending in around 2 hours. There's a lot of stuff I got to take care of today. So I didn't want this stream to go on too long. I think Fred has said enough things to probably get this stream demonetized already.
Yeah, he did.
So,
Hey, hold up! Before you go off air, you from Hollandale, right? You know Hollandale, right?
No. I'm not from. My family's from there. My family was from there.
Well, I used to go through Hollandale all the time. I know Mr. Sanders personally. Sanders.
Who's Sanders?
The Sanders family.
Who's that?
Howard Roosevelt Sanders the Senior. He's the one who owned the funeral home and also did the 24 house estate development in Hollandale. Sanders Estates.
I think that's the name of the funeral home that handled my mom's shit. Hold on, let me see.
Exactly.
Hold on, let me see. I gotta find it.
So Mudd Mr. Sanders Jr., that's Junior, because the senior, he died. So Mr. Sanders is about 78 years old.
Yeah, this is it right here. The Sanders Bias Funeral Home. Or like Bias or something. Yeah, that's it.
He went to Tougaloo College with my dad and mom. And me and his son, we went to Jackson State together. We've known each other since.
Tell them they got to They got to stop forgetting to put people headstones on their grave, man.
Mr. Sanders old, so he delegates that stuff out to other people, and like you said, for whatever reason, our people don't want to live up to their jobs. They don't want to do their jobs properly.
No, salute to them though,
and
man. You know what?
Sanders,
they handled the whole. They handled the funeral and everything. They did a great job. I ain't gonna lie. They did a really good job with everything. I think they just made a mistake at the end. They made a mistake. We fixed it. I mean, as soon as I notified them about it, they went and took care of it, man. So salute to them, man. I can't knock them for what they do. Man.
Yeah, but like I said, man, Hollandale is a beautiful city. Some of the most beautiful, down to earth people. So I probably bumped into your dad back in the day.
Probably did. Hollandale's a small city.
Dad.
You probably bumped.
Small.
Well, you probably bumped into a lot of my family of views in Hollandale.
Right. Right on the railroad tracks.
They all still live there.
Exactly. So, back to the thing. I don't have no disrespect to anybody. I have no disrespect for anybody. I love all my black brothers and sisters. But
no, absolutely.
I do have a slight against the LGBTQ because they put that rainbow flag before they put the black community. I'll just be honest with you.
That's true.
Black Lives Matter ran off with that money.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on, let me get to real debates before we get out of here, because like I said, I gotta get this wrapped up. Hold on, real debates, man. What's good? Real debates. B said, man, you've been ducking and dodging them, man.
No, bro. Hold on, wait. Have it been 10 games yet?
No, it hasn't been 10 games, but he wanted to offer you a plea bargain. He said he had a plea bargain for you.
No, ain't no plea. Gotta pay up if I lose. I'm a man, straight up.
Okay. Nah. He was just joking.
Bullshit trying to back out.
Nah, we was just joking. I knew you didn't go anywhere, man. I think we was just cracking jokes.
I mean, at this point, I'm thinking I gotta what they gotta win, like 7 straight.
Yeah, they're gonna have to reel off some W's now, which is all winnable games. Winnable games. So, it's possible.
Friendly wager. Win some, you lose some. In the end,
hold on. They play Boston, right, at home.
Yeah. Yep. Tomorrow.
Winnable game, because Boston just came off a back. This is a back-to-back for Boston.
Yep. Boston just got their ass beat.
Winnable game. Take advantage of that. Winnable game. All they got to do is just do what they need to do. This is a very winnable game for them. Just go win the game and move on to the next.
Anthony Davis shot 50. You got Blake Griffin playing that center.
So, but look, y'all. Look, I wish I could stay on that topic a little longer. Real debates. I know you came in at the very end of this. I would stick around and keep this going, but I definitely have to get going. I got a lot of stuff I got to do today. I do apologize. But again, we will be back.
I want to say one thing, man.
Hey, it was a great show, bro. It was a great show.
Was talking about he boycotting all that different stuff, bro.
Hold on. Say that again.
when I came in, some dude talking about so he not watching this, not going to this, not doing this and that. I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? Who is this dude? Who is that dude? Like, he caught the whole world.
Hey, I only jumped into this thing when you started talking about Deion Sanders and Jackson State. I just let y'all know about the corruption at Jackson State. The rest of this thing, hey, I could take this or leave this. Sports don't mean nothing to it because even when they win, do they send you a check? Do they put money in your pocket? The Lakers don't put no money in my pocket. The Clippers don't put no money in my crop. So I don't really go for people who I don't really care about things that don't put no money in my pocket. But you know, that's y'all entertainment, and I don't knock that. You do you. I don't do strip clubs. I don't do a lot of things that you young people do. I mean, to me, sports is for kids. I don't do kids stuff no more. Sorry.
All I can say,
ain't no biggie, but I support you, brother. I support you.
I definitely respect anybody that's been around longer than me and older. But what I can say one thing is, once you go through enough things in life, you start to understand that you could be carefree and do you and not care about what's going on around you. But eventually, you're gonna have to pay attention to something.
What I care about is the black community. So I showed up for Karen Bass, who's the mayor, the new female black mayor of LA. I went to see that. Okay. I went and voted. I went, and when there's demonstrations against anything that's against the black community, I put on my shoes and I go for that here in LA. Now, I wasn't involved in the LA riots, but everything else that involved, yeah, I was part of that. This LA, baby, I'm in California. See, we got plenty of things to do with our time besides watch sports. We do more outdoor activities because we got the mountains, the beaches, the deserts, and my boy in Arizona, so he already know how beautiful them deserts and them mesas are. When you kicking back in your backyard smoking you a fatty, come on.
Hey, it's cool until somebody trick you into going up one of them mountains. God damn. Bro, look, y'all, check this out, y'all. Look, check this out. Check this out. My team, right? So I think my team was trying to get some get back because, you know, I had them running all year and stuff. They was like, yeah, we're going to do a team bonding event. We're going to go on a team hike. I'm like, a little hike. That ain't nothing, man. You know, we could just go hike. Bro, because I get there first. So I get to this hike first. And I see a sign. I see a warning sign. And the first sign I see when I get there is it says, this hike is extremely difficult. I'm like, what the hell is this? I said, I ain't never been on a hike where there's a warning sign saying extremely difficult. I'm asking the players, I'm like, what's on this hike that could be considered extremely difficult? They was like, it's just long. It's just a long walk. Like, don't worry about it. We good. Man, I went up that hike, bro. We was climbing mountains. Like, when I literally say climbing mountains and I'm already scared of heights, bro, that shit was scary than a motherfucker. Bro, it was some sketchy, and the problem is when you go up, once you start going up, especially if you got a fear of heights, you can't go back down because the only thing you see, like when you turn around and look behind you, it looked like a straight deep drop. So you got to just keep looking up because that's the only thing that looks safe. But they tricked the shit out of me, bro. And it was like, it took us like 2 hours to get to the top. And when you get to the top, all you see is just height. It's just scary as hell. That shit was crazy. So hopefully if some of y'all come to AZ, I can trick some of y'all to going up that up Camelback Mountain.
You can't trick me. No, We got mountain lions and bears and rattlesnakes.
No, hold on. I'm telling you right now. If you go up Camelback Mountain, if you go up Camelback Mountain, you're gonna hope you see an animal, but you're gonna be so scared. Like if you got, I have a fear of heights, so that's what was bothering me. I didn't care about no animals, bro. And then you gotta, then you can't just, you gotta climb. Like you gotta go climb rocks. You gotta climb the mountain. Like it ain't no height. You gotta climb.
Yeah, you got to use muscles you didn't even know you had.
You got to, black people, this is why black people don't go mountain climb, man.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't understand this, and I'm not trying to put we not cave people. You know, caveman had to run.
Come on, Fred Dorsey.
That's we don't do that.
All right, man.
We can run, bro. We run miles.
Hey, Fred
We break
Dorsey.
records running, bro. We like flat level land. We want to see where we going. Come on now, we ain't going
Fred.
in no dark.
Hey, Fred. I'll be talking about. I got a Jackson State topic that I want you here for tomorrow, man. I hope you pull up tomorrow. All right,
Nice.
I will, man. I'm a JSU Tiger, man. Like I said, bro. We got a lot. We got a lot of things we have to do as a community just before.
All right, hold on, Fred.
Call ourselves together.
Hold on, Fred. I gotta go, Fred. I'm gonna go ahead and bump you, Fred. Man.
Yes, sir.
Love you, Fred, man. We gonna catch you on the next one, Fred. Fred is gonna get somebody whole channel taken down. He was probably one step away from just going ahead and just completely disrespecting the whole Jewish community. He'd have hit all the talking points, man. God damn.
Facts.
Jesus Christ. He didn't hit transgenders, LGBTQ, man. Now you got the white people. That is crazy, man. All right, y'all, man. Hey, look, man. Appreciate you, real debates, man, pulling up. Like I said, tomorrow topic, we might do a JSU topic tomorrow. We're gonna have to talk about this petition. That first, I heard that it was other HBCU coaches starting a petition that Deion Sanders should not coach in the Celebration Bowl. If that's true, I got to see if it's true first. So I don't know how true it is, but if it is true, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. All right. So again, man, salute to Astro, man. Appreciate you pulling up. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. And real debates, salute, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. You know what? You still have a chance to win this bet. I got faith. I got faith that the Lakers can pull off the improbable. Bees has an affinity for losing bets, especially bets that he think he has won. Maybe this is an upset brewing right here, and Bees is just about to get completely upset on a 7-game run. It could happen. It could happen, man. So hopefully it does happen. We'll be here to see when it does. Salute to Real Debates for pulling up, man. Salute to everybody else in the chat. R. Escobar, Peanut, the White Dorsey, DJ Reese. Right? Did DJ Reese stay away from them white women only parties, man? Cuba Starks, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. We also had Kenna. Hopefully I'm saying the name right. If I'm saying the name wrong, we can correct that later. So mind your own. I think Kenna might have a platform. I don't know. It looks like that's a channel name right there. But if that's the channel name, make sure you guys click on the profile. Go check out her channel, man. Sub up to it, man. Check out the content. Renegade is in here, man. Long-time supporter of the channel. Appreciate Renegade. We got Chris Martin in the panel. Salute, man. Appreciate you guys pulling up. Mike Sampson. I see everybody who pulled up today. Numbers is a little lower than normal, but you know that happens with the morning show. Sometimes it's not always topics that everybody wants to deal with or attack head on. I just thought this was something that just needed to be discussed. Because the WNBA is a league that I would like to see thrive. I would like to see them get back, but I just don't believe there's enough people being honest about what their marketing flaw is. Maybe they'll take note, right? Maybe they'll try to get me to take this video down. I don't know. But they do have an obvious marketing flaw that people seem to be too scared to call out. And we are just here at FYF Sports. Remember, FYF Sports means forget your feelings, man. You have to call it out for what it is. Dwight Dorsey says, let's talk reparations here in California. Look, I want to talk reparations. If I can find a way to connect it back to sports somehow and make the sports connection, this is a sports connection, I would be willing to do that. But it's just kind of hard to mix the political talk in with the sports all the time. I mean, I have a channel for you. LVZ NBA Talk, man. He loves talking about reparations and having that conversation. He goes live dang near every day. All you have to do is type in LVZ NBA Talk. That's all you got to do to go find the channel. I just put it in there. I don't have time to put the link in right now. But LVZ, man, he's a Hall of Famer on this channel. He can chop it up with you about sports. He's a Laker fan. But he also will have that conversations with you. So Peanut says reparations won't matter if Black Americans have horrible spending habits. And, you know, I just don't think reparations are going to matter because I don't think we really have a true plan as to how to dole out reparations. I mean, do we only get them if you're 18 and up? Does every Black person get it from now until eternity? Like, how does it work? You know, I think first of all, we have to get a trusted group of Black people together that we feel can come up with a plan that's good enough, and then present that plan. Whether that plan has flaws or not, we just have to present some type of plan plan. It has to be a realistic plan, something that the government can actually do. I remember I saw one plan where somebody was saying, oh, all black people should get $500,000. Well, unfortunately, that's just not realistic. Maybe $25,000, $30,000, maybe something like that could be worked out, but be realistic in what you're asking for too. And so you got to take that into consideration as well. Maybe it is in the form of benefits, free college, free tuition, things like that. Maybe some type of fund that you can apply towards a business or something. I don't know. She says, good luck finding a trusted group. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think if we do think about a trusted group, that trusted group is not going to be perfect. It's probably going to consist of people that we don't really care for, but we just have to get, we can't have everything our way in something like that. I think a lot of times black people want everything to be handed out perfectly when everything isn't perfect. Sometimes you have to accept people on some of these plans that you don't want in. You might have to agree and have concessions in your plan that you might don't want to agree to. But at the end of the day, you got to be willing to kind of negotiate. But Chris Martin said, Fred, my type. Hey, salute to Fred, man. Fred came in and cooking, man. Fred, but this is the original Fred. If y'all haven't met for the original Fred, man, that Fred, who was just on the panel, he's new. Fred is the OG of the channel. FYF Fred has been here from day one, man. Yeah, a lot of y'all don't know. If you new to the channel, FYF Fred has his own videos on the channel. He has his own Twitter page. All you got to do is look up FYF Fred on Twitter. Right? I mean, come on. He's a legend right here. All right. But hey, y'all, it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. Appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. Great show. We will be back tomorrow, 10:30. All right, 9:30 if you're in the Pacific, 12:30 if you are any other coast. So make sure you guys pull up, man. We pull up. We're going to get back to the NBA talk. Hopefully we can talk about, hopefully you don't have to talk about a ton of JSU stuff. Hopefully this petition stuff is not true. But if it is, we'll be back here to talk about it. But it's FYF Sports, man. Another great podcast episode. We will be back with more sports news. Until then, it's FYF Sports. And we out.
All I hear is yap, 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 yap. Ain't talking about nothing, right? Watch this. We gon' bring that pressure.
Just a little FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? Woo, fuck your feelings, we all know who the real is. I be getting to it, ain't wasting no time. Walking straight in, we ain't waiting in line. Fuck your feelings, you don't care about mine. You a YouTube gangster, don't be yelling out slime. Or you talking LB, talking Ticket TV. Ain't nobody watching them, all the viewers be sleep. 5 years in, all your subs is your friends. Ticket TV, watch the cars again. Just a little FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? Woo, fuck your feelings, we all know who the real is. All know, shop don't close, working 24, trying to make the channel grow. Look at them, pointing fingers, hating on the low. You can't compete with our podcast show. Couldn't make it in the league, so we got on TV. Crying by LeBron like a little baby. You must be crazy, trying to ever play me. Or you super tough until it's time to say cheese. Just a little FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? Woo, fuck your feelings, we all know who the real